Are you a hip shooter? If so, listen up, because this video might be really interesting for you. I thought it's important to get a video out there for you guys quickly because the questions have already started rolling in. Last night, Panasonic Lumix announced their brand new camera, and I think it might interest some of you guys, or any Leica shooters, especially Leica M shooters and anybody that enjoys small compact cameras. If you shoot from the hip, as I was trying to demonstrate at the start of this video, this camera may be particularly of interest to you. So in today's video, I'm going to quickly cover why the Lumix S9 may be of interest to you as Leica shooters or Leica fans, and even to me. I've already had questions. Matt, why don't you sell camera XYZ and buy a Lumix S9 instead? So to save you all the research that I've just done on the same camera, in this video I'm going to quickly cover how the S9 compares to other cameras and whether I can sell this pile of cameras I've got here and have an S9 instead. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. So yes, today we're not talking about the Leica M in particular, we're talking about a Lumix S9. I don't have one to hand, but there are lots of great Lumix S9 videos that all landed in the last kind of 16 hours or so. Check those out. Today I'm trying to cover what they're not covering or they don't seem to be covering, and that is how does the Lumix S9 stack up against our existing cameras. So coming up, I'm going to go through a series of slides. I'm going to show whether or not the Lumix S9 can replace my, let's say, Leica M camera to start off with. We're also going to cover cameras like can it replace my Lumix S5? Can it replace my Leica SL? And can it replace this pile of Micro Four Thirds Lumix cameras? I think when it comes to the Lumix S5, I think the closest contender in kind of Leica terms is the Leica CL. The Leica CL was still in production. Many people were kind of hoping for the Leica CL2, and all we really wanted was a full frame Leica CL camera. Now, if you've never used a Leica CL, they're basically the same footprint and roughly the same size as a Leica Barnett camera, like a vintage Leica 3 camera. The problem is the Leica CL is APS-C, and obviously film cameras are full frame, and the M cameras and most cameras from Leica are full frame, except the Leica M8. So what we're all hoping for is kind of Leica CL fanatics was please Leica make us a Leica CL2. Sadly they didn't, they cancelled the Leica CL line completely. What they announced last night was the Lumix S9. Now this is pretty much a full frame Leica SL, but it does have a few differences. So that's what we're going to cover first. And then we're going to look at the Lumix S5 versus the Lumix S9. Do I still need to carry this big, bulky, relatively camera? Or can I get a small, compact Lumix S9, which is probably similar to the size of, say, my Leica CL? So why do I carry this around when I could carry this around? Before we cover these, let's first just cover the Leica M cameras. So if you're a Leica M fan, many of us love our Leica M cameras because they're small and compact. Many people that use Leica M cameras perhaps didn't like the Leica CL because it was APS-C. Main reasons I think for buying an M camera would be size, the rangefinder, the beautiful build quality and the simplicity. But what about all you Leica fans that say shoot from the hip? You'd like a tilt screen, you'd like autofocus, you'd like weather sealing. This is where it gets interesting. So the Lumix S9 now has autofocus, weather sealing, flip out screen. Yes, it's a Panasonic and it's not a Leica, but if you are one of these guys that just shoots from the hip all the time with their Leica camera, the new Lumix S9 might be a very affordable backup camera to go with your pride and joy M camera, to give you that option of, say, a tilt screen for doing those low sneaky shots on the street. You can still put all your M lenses on, obviously, L mount. You just need an L to M adapter. I've done many videos on this in the past. So I think even for M cameras, which I'm not really covering in this video, the Lumix S9 may pair nicely with your M camera if you're more of a modern shooter and you enjoy shooting from the screen rather than from the rangefinder. Okay, so because I really think the Lumix S9 could have been called the Leica CL2 if it had a different badge, let's now look at the Lumix S9 versus the Leica CL. Okay, so if we first look at the dimensions, Leica CL versus Lumix S9, you can see the S9 is both smaller, both height-wise and width-wise, but the depth, it is deeper than the CL. So overall, it's maybe about the same size, but slightly heavier. Common features from both, they're both 24 megapixel L-mount cameras with single card slots, compact design, similar ISO, and the option of autofocus. Where these cameras differ, the Leica CL is lighter, but the Lumix S9 offers you full frame, roughly twice as many photos per battery, weather sealing, USB-C charging, and a flip-out LCD screen. That's not all. In addition to that, it gives you image stabilization, 6K video, faster autofocus, and lots more of the usual mod cons. The problem is it's got no hot shoe and no EVF, so that could be a big deal breaker. How does it compare to a Lumix S5? Okay, next, what about the Lumix S9 versus the Lumix S5? I've not really mentioned the Leica SL, but the Lumix S5 is basically very similar to the Leica SL. Both can take very similar pictures. I have done videos on this and I can link it at the end. Both are L-mount, both use the same L-mount lenses, so I can use the same, say, Lumix autofocus lens on both cameras. I can use the same M lenses on both cameras via my M to L adapters. The main difference is this is Lumix, this is Leica. So can I replace both of these with a super compact Lumix S9? Okay, first the dimensions. You can see that the Lumix S9 is a fraction of the size of the S5. It's lighter, it's smaller in all directions. They both come with lots of common features, both 24 megapixel full frame, both similar battery capacity, both with weather sealing, both USB-C charging, both flip-out screen, and both with built-in image stabilization. Now, where do they differ? Of course, the size and the weight of the Lumix S9 absolutely smashes the S5. The biggest drawback with the S9 is the lack of cold shoe, which means you can't fire flash, and the lack of EVF, so you can't even attach an EVF after the fact. The Lumix S9 seems to be aimed at content creators, influencers, TikTokers, I guess people like myself, rather than actual photographers. Okay, and finally, can the Lumix S9 replace my Micro Four Thirds cameras? Now, I know, again, some Leica users also enjoy Micro Four Thirds because, again, Micro Four Thirds offer you a small compact setup similar to Leica or Leica M cameras. I bought these mostly for shooting video for, say, YouTube, and so I needed a small compact camera to take with me alongside my photo cameras to be able to take some like B-roll and things when I'm on my trips. These are Micro Four Thirds, which means I need to carry a whole other set of lenses, and it just ends up being too much stuff to carry in addition to my digital cameras, my film cameras, and maybe a pair of pants if I've got space when I'm traveling overseas. I found that I'm now using an iPhone, modern iPhone, instead of these cameras. So the question is, could the Lumix S9 replace these and this and this? It's not going to replace my M camera, and it's not going to replace my SL. The next big question, slightly off topic, I know this is normally a Leica channel, Leica related. Will the Lumix S9 be the death of Micro Four Thirds? If I bring up this image, you can see that the Lumix S9 is pretty much the same size as the Micro Four Thirds Lumix GX9. The Lumix GX9 is roughly the same size as this, so this is roughly the same size as the Lumix S9. It now begs the question, if the full frame cameras can be the same size as the Micro Four Thirds cameras, it seems like there's no point really to have all the Micro Four Thirds cameras. Feel free to comment below. I'd be amazed if Micro Four Thirds is still around in 5 years, but again, comment below. This is just my opinion. Okay, so in summary, which of these cameras can I replace if I buy the Lumix S9? Straight away, I can replace all three Micro Four Thirds cameras. I could possibly replace my Lumix S5. I'll have the same image quality with the Lumix S9, but I'm going to be lacking the viewfinder. As long as I don't mind shooting from the screen instead of the viewfinder, I can also replace this. I can also replace my Leica CL. I'm going to have the same size camera, but now I'm going to have a full frame 24 megapixel sensor instead of a APS-C 24 megapixel sensor. The problem is this has got a built-in viewfinder, and I think I might miss that for real photos. Yes, it's good to have a vlogging camera and maybe a backup camera, like a small backup camera, which I can carry with my main camera. So this one's like a maybe. We'll leave that as a maybe. Can it replace my workhorse Leica SL? Absolutely not, because I use the viewfinder for 95% of my images. I like the big grip, I like the twin card slot, and even though it's a pretty old camera, I don't think the modern Lumix S9 will ever replace my professional Leica SL body. So this is going to be staying. And what about a Leica M camera? As I say, if you're like an M shooter that shoots from the screen and you shoot from the hip and you never use your rangefinder, and let's say you've got anything pre like M11, so M10, say basic M10, basic M10P, M240, those cameras could be threatened by the Lumix S9 if you're not really a die-hard Leica shooter. If you like the build quality of Leica, if you like the simplicity of Leica, if you like the brand of Leica, if you like rangefinders, if you like proper build quality, if you like mechanical shutters, you're going to have to, this is not a threat, you just like throw it away. And as I say, the Leica CL, I think a used Leica CL is roughly the same price as a brand new S9. I've not checked the prices recently. It's tricky. Let me know in the comments. Would you keep the Leica CL if you had one, or would you replace it with the Lumix S9? The main difference is probably mechanical shutter versus electronic shutter only, something I've not mentioned in the slides, and obviously built-in viewfinder, no built-in viewfinder. The huge benefit is if I use a 35mm lens on a Leica CL, because it's APS-C, it's now 50mm, where if I use my 35mm lens on the new Lumix S9, it's still 35mm, which is amazing. Talking of lenses, Lumix have just announced two brand new lenses. One a small pancake and second a small zoom. The first is an 18-40 like kit lens, which might be useful for anyone using L-mount cameras. And second is a super tiny 26 f8 manual focus only lens. This lens reminds me a lot of my old Leica TL lens, which was an 80mm 28mm equivalent, but 2.8. So lots to think about. Feel free to comment below. Exciting times, regardless of whether you're interested in the Lumix S9 or not. Thanks for watching if you lasted to the end, and as always, a huge thanks to my awesome patrons. I'll put a link below to additional content.